Living my mother's lie. The story of how I learned of my NPE status. Part 1. Hi, my name is Cara de Benedetto, but it really shouldn't be. Let me explain. It all started, like so many of these stories, with a Christmas gift. My son, who has always been curious if he has other siblings on his father's side, decided to purchase a 23andMe kit. While searching through the website, a buy one get one half off option presented itself. He turned to me and asked if I wanted to get one. Sure, I responded, thinking this would be a fun way to see what parts of the world I am actually from. My mom's side of the family had always been a bit of a mystery. She had always said she was part English/Irish/Scottish, however there had always been a story about being Native American. I thought it would be great to finally get some clarification. My mom passed away suddenly at the end of 2019, and while this isn't important now, it will be later. He turned to me before he clicked buy and said with much seriousness in his voice, "Are you sure?" He said. There was a mom who did one of these and found out her son wasn't hers and felt so guilty about not knowing that she never really recovered. I looked at him and said, "No worries, I know you are mine. Anyone can see we are practically the same person, no surprise here." With those fateful words I would go down a rabbit hole that I am incapable of climbing out of. Some time later the tests came and I did mine and sent it in a timely manner. Time passed, and while I was anxious to get the results, I wasn't really thinking about it. My son's birthday came, then Christmas and New Year's. About a week later I got the email. "Your results are available." I eagerly went to the website as directed and signed in. You would imagine there must have been a moment just before the screen loaded that I would have realized what I was about to do, but there really wasn't. It was the furthest thing from my mind. Then I saw it. I was not Italian, like at all, none, zero, zip. It confused me. I just sat there looking at the graph trying to make sense of what I was looking at. It was then the realization hit me. My Italian heritage came from my dad's side. It was in the first few seconds that my entire life flashed before my eyes. The family photos, the conversations with my dad about wanting updated blood tests, the crying and crying and crying to my mom about not feeling loved or wanted, it all swept out into the room and swirled about and then sucked back into my head like a movie scene. It was a lie. I was a lie. My dad isn't my father. First, I was in denial. Maybe my dad was adopted. I mean, he was about 10 years younger than his next sibling, and maybe there was some sort of cover-up there. I mean, my dad could have been Polish, right? Then I started to cry. Stupid Cara, I told myself. It was clear to anyone that not only he, but his whole family was definitely Italian. I was a piece in the wrong puzzle, the one you are sure goes in this one spot, but just doesn't seem to fit right. It was Jan 8th, and I didn't know who the heck I was. There was a cousin relation that I couldn't place. I reached out and continued to fuel my delusion. Do you know this person? Have you this name in your lineage? Each answer brought me a little closer back to reality. We came to two possible theories. The first, that I was the unknown daughter to his only uncle, and second, that his father had a brother he didn't know about and that man was my bio dad. He mentioned his uncle had two daughters and one of them had an less common spelling to her name, so I scoured social media and came upon someone who fit. I reached out to her to see if she could shed any light on my newfound darkness. She was nice enough, but seemed a bit confused by the whole situation. She said that her papa, as she called him, along with herself and her younger sister had all done ancestry years ago. I thanked her for the information and decided the only thing to do was to purchase the ancestry kit and see if they show up on my relatives list. I still only had the one cousin as a sure DNA connection and didn't want to assume her father was my bio father if in fact there was some other explanation, so I purchased the kit and sent it in, and waited. Soon my 50th birthday was upon me and my son, and I took an amazing trip to Disney World. As I said before, he and I are similar in so many ways. He was amazingly supportive of my situation and we really did Disney up right. It was so fitting with them celebrating their 50th. It really brought me out of my head and in the moment. It was coming to the end of our trip when the results came in. I stared at my phone from the hotel room bed. I knew what it was going to say. I was sure what it was going to say, but I needed to believe just a little longer. I needed to think that my mom hadn't lied to me about who my dad was and that this was all a mistake. Even though my relationship with my dad was rocky at best, it was all I had left and he was all I had left. I wasn't ready to let go of who I thought I was, so I finished out the trip and I looked the next morning before heading home. I opened the email. There it was, in black and white, determination, father, along with the two girls as half-siblings. There was no denying it now, no running, no hiding, no pretending. I had not only lost the only culture I had ever been sure of, but I also became an orphan. My bio father had passed about 4 months after my mom. I decided to start the search for answers, not knowing what I could find out about this interlude, if anything. Before I did that, there was the question of telling my dad. I know he had his suspicions early on, but I really thought the blood tests we had done when I was a kid had been proof. I remember him asking me at 16 to do them again. My mom had me convinced he was just being awful. She had so manipulated me into this that I refused. I am sure it was much to her relief, I still wonder to this day, had I found out then, would she have told me the truth, or would she have made something up? DNA wouldn't have come around for 20 more years and I could have spent that whole time wondering. To be continued.
Don't you ever change some crazy ways, baby, cause it comes so naturally. Girl, I'm such a fool for all them things you do. Don't just stop, no, don't just stop